People who can't handle the heat of an auction or aren't available to attend often use a proxy bidder to bid on their behalf. But there are risks for both the buyer and the proxy bidders. Zoran Solano joins us now with more. Zoran, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us from Brisbane today. Look, let's get back to basics. What is proxy bidding?
Yeah, so proxy bidding or bidding by representation is something where obviously a buyer may not be able to physically attend the auction on their behalf, or perhaps they're intimidated by the auction environment and choose to appoint an alternative person to bid on their behalf at the auction.
And what are the benefits for somebody wanting to purchase a home of having a proxy bidder?
Yeah, so look, geographically, obviously there's a lot of considerations. If you're an interstate or overseas buyer and you're not able to personally attend the auction, you know, there's no other way to bid potentially other than having someone else represent you. And there's various ways of representation. One of the most common ways is obviously via the phone bidding via a selling agent, but they may choose to appoint a friend. But again, there's also that intimidation factor. An auction is a very intimidating environment. If you've ever tried to buy your own home at auction, you'll have butterflies in your stomach, you'll be heavy breathing, you'll be sweating, and even professionals can get like that as well, because it's the environment that creates. And some people are just not a fan. It's just public speaking essentially, which is one of our greatest fears.
And so somebody like yourself, do you do a lot of proxy bidding, and how does it work if you attend on someone's behalf?
Yeah, the team at Hot Property do a lot of bidding for clients, and it's a growing part of our service repertoire as we see Brisbane do more and more auctions in our changing market. A lot of people will gravitate towards appointing usually a friend or family member, but ultimately getting a professional to represent you on the day is going to give you such a competitive edge in that environment to be able to outpace the competitors at the auction and hopefully try and secure the property for the best price.
Now, what are the risks if you don't have a professional? What are the risks if you send some other form of proxy?
Yeah, so look, as I said, the risk of appointing Uncle Jeff or Dad to go along for you and bid, someone who just doesn't have experience. You know, just appointing a family member or friend who happens to own a couple of properties thinking that they've got the most experience is probably a big risk for you as a bidder. You really need to have that professional representation. Just a few items that I've specifically sort of outlined here as well. One would be not having the appropriate forms in place. So turning up on the day, not having the right paperwork in place to bid on that person's behalf. You could get there on the day and not legally be able to bid, and that buyer would then be missing out on the property. Also, misrepresentation is a big risk for both bidder and buyer, where you know, the bidder may outbid the authority that they had discussed or the amount that they had discussed with the buyer, and then you leave yourself open to a world of hurt.
You mentioned that the paperwork to be able to be signed. What are the rules around it, and do they differ around the country into when you're bidding on someone else's behalf?
Yeah, definitely. You need to check your local legislation, as real estate law is state by state. Here in Queensland, there is a standard REIQ, Real Estate Institute of Queensland form that a selling agent can provide you to appoint the authority to bid to another person. But you must take legal advice during this as well. Not only if you're the buyer, but also if you're the bidder. A little known fact that not a lot of people know is that as a representative of the buyer, if you're bidding, you warrant the buyer's ability to complete the contract. Therefore, if the buyer cannot obtain finance or cannot settle on the property, you as the proxy bidder may be held liable to settle that. So if you're Uncle John or Dad going along and your daughter or niece or whoever it might be is unable to settle on the property, you could be held liable, and that's a massive, massive risk. Professionals like myself hold obviously insurances to protect us from those sort of situations, but the general public don't, very rarely do. So you really need to take professional advice before doing this. It could be a huge minefield if it's not done correctly.
Yeah, well, you're scaring us already, Zoran. So let's drill down on some sort of specific examples now. So you recently bid for a client in Chapel Hill at 10 Robbins Street. How did that, do you think, change the outcome of what happened in terms of this buyer obtaining that property?
It was dramatic. The buyer would not in my opinion, have been able to bid on the day. Lovely, lovely lady, single woman, 2 kids, looking to purchase a family home, but the intimidation of bidding in front of dozens and dozens of people standing in a living area was just too much. In fact, when I bid for this property, my client actually was in one of the bedrooms, not even anywhere near the auction environment, because it is such an intimidating process. And for someone who's not used to that, it can be quite off-putting and often quite sickening. As I said, it's the fear of public speaking which draws a lot of people often to physical sickness, you know. So I confidently believe that this lovely lady would unfortunately never have purchased the property because she wouldn't have been in a position to bid. But during the actual auction, I used my skills of negotiation and bidding in order to secure the property for just a couple of thousand over the nearest highest bid, because what I understood was a lot of people, and here's a little tip for you, a lot of people finish their bidding on a round number, 660, yes. 670. I never have that as my maximum authority. It's always a very unusual number, you know, 667, 500 or something like that, because you'd be very surprised how often $500 or $2,500, $500 or $2,500 has won me an auction.
Yeah, look, there are obvious benefits from going with a professional like yourself who do this and know those little tricks, because you just do it sort of innately. I'm wondering, Zoran, when she was in the bedroom, are you working on her behalf with a set price that you know you're working towards, or is she on the phone with you communicating? Is there a normal way that you do it, or does it differ according to each client?
You want to know if he was wearing a wire? Like,
yeah, I want to know how it's working.
No wires, no tricks. So the process that usually I would go through with a client is, prior to the auction, we have the appropriate paperwork filled in, and then we have an auction strategy meeting. This is where we confirm 3 prices. Our minimum price, so bargain price. What would we feel we would be paying to get an absolute bargain? Then our fair and reasonable price, our middle price, where we feel that we've got a good buy for both buyer and seller. And then our absolute maximum, the absolute last figure we're willing to go to before walking away. And so those are preset before I even bid at auction. Then, using my experience, interpreting the crowd, understanding how many registered bidders and the type of property, we'll then start to work out where within that 3 price range I'll begin. If I will even begin the bidding, I may stay quiet until it's on the market. So there's all these various strategies that we talk about prior to, but again, an auction is a very fluid environment. You cannot plan what's going to happen at an auction. And this is why professional representation is so important, because you need to be able to think on your feet and change that strategy in an instant to be able to win at auction. And also as well, guys, don't forget, it's not you against other buyers, it's you against the seller. And I think that's a common mistake a lot of buyers make, where egos get in the way and it's me versus that buyer, and that can become a major issue. And that's actually what a seller wants. They want that competition to drive price up. So don't forget, it's not about the other buyers, it's you versus the seller.
And it's what professional hosts of auction shows want as well.
Exactly.
Yes, we want them fighting it out. Now, 7 Moynihan Street in Ascot, this is another time when you've played out this scenario on somebody else's behalf.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In this case, the bidders were there as well. They were actually standing just a few metres away from me and were involved in the process somewhat. But again, the same process of a written authority was done prior to, with a preset maximum. In this instance, I was able to actually get the seller to drop their reserve during the auction in order to meet the market and sell, so buying it below the seller's original reserve. But ultimately, it was some great negotiation on the floor, one-on-one against the auctioneer. Those kind of times where, you know, there's those backroom discussions with the highest bidder and the auctioneer, those can be really, really critical conversations. And also, the general public need to know that's a tactic. That is a tactic that sellers and auctioneers will use to drive you up in price. That one-on-one, pause the auction, get advice, come back and speak to the highest bidder. It is all planned. Don't think that it's a special thing for you. It's a strategy they're using to get more money out of you. So stay firm and try and communicate as best you can with the auctioneer to find out what's really going on.
This is also a beautifully presented property, and my professional side can see this is all sort of pulling out all the bells and whistles to really get people emotionally engaged. So that's another thing, isn't it? You can look at it for facts and figures and bricks and mortar, or beautiful timber cladding in this case, up your part of the world, and make sure that it's definitive on price and reasoning rather than the pretty stuff, because this is a very good looking home.
Yeah, that's right. And so when pricing a property, look, property is not a perfect asset class. We can't compare apples with apples because there's all these different variations in property. And so when we're comparing and contrasting property from a numbers and a paper point of view, we can only go so far. There's then this overlay of emotion of the buyer that often is involved. And so I bring that sort of non-emotive price point to the conversation, but also as well, I'm realistic in knowing that if it's a property that's a dream home, I'm there to rein in that maximum price to make sure they don't overpay, but also I'm there to make sure that they secure their family home. A lot of people, again in an auction situation, but just in general, they'll be intimidated to go to their maximum, although it might even be the right property for them. So it's about educating them about their needs and wants and ensuring that that's reflected in the property that they're purchasing. It's about chasing the right property, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well put there, Zoran. It is a tricky process, but as you see, it creates the right level of competition, and people often walk away with the house of their dreams. And we see it happen 8 times today.
We are 8 times today.
Zoran, thank you so much for your input, as always.
Thanks, Zoran.
Thanks, guys. Catch you later.
Thanks for being with us here on Auction Day on Your Money. We're just waiting for our first live auction of the day to get underway. This is at 18 Julian Street in Willoughby. We spoke with the agent a short time ago. There's been a lot of interest in this property ahead of today's auction. Yeah,
look, it's a really nice home, and it's a great price point to be able to get into this really tightly held suburb, and very popular one in Willoughby. It's a beautiful semi-detached home. It's 3 bedroom, 1 bath and 1 car, 259 square metres. But I commented as we were speaking to him, but with the semi, you can see there, beautiful natural light. And as we were speaking to the agent, Danny Grant, a little bit earlier, the sun was just shining through there on that kitchen bench as people were flooding through the hallway. So it looked like it's going to be a pretty popular one.
Yeah, and it is extraordinarily well presented. It's a Federation semi, but you can see they've knocked the back off and opened it all right up and brought in all that natural light. And it is just moments to the city. There's express buses at the doorway. There's couple of sets of traffic lights, and you can be right in the Sydney CBD. So that's making it very attractive to downsizers and people who might want to move from their bigger homes on the upper North Shore or whatever and get a bit closer to town. But also for people who've been priced out of, you know, just a couple of suburbs away like Cremorne and Mossman. This is a really great alternative which offers many of the same benefits. You can see there an estimated value of $1.8 million on this one. Just so that you do know, it was last sold on the 13th of November in 2006 for $750,000. So they've been there, you know, a little while, and it's obviously enjoyed a great growth during that time from that $750,000 figure. We do have a price guide of this one, officially 1.8. Even the guides from our research tools tell us that between 1.4 up to about 2, just over the 2 million figure. So it could definitely edge up above that. Yeah, so we've seen medians pull back into the double digits in Sydney over the past 12 months or so. In Willoughby, it hasn't taken as much of a hit as other parts of Sydney. So, I mean, we were in Ryde last weekend and prices had dropped by 20% there. Willoughby's only pulled back 6%, which sounds like a lot, but relative to the growth in the past several years, it had sort of gone up 17% to 2014, 19% to 2015, 20% to 2016. So to see some modest pullbacks after, you know, almost those huge increases over several years it puts it in a bit of perspective. It helps understand a little better what those pullbacks mean when you look at the falling growth rate there. You can see days on market 32, so it's not on for a long time. These properties definitely don't linger for a while, and the vacancy rate's pretty good there at 3.6%. Just so that you know, a couple of recent sales in Willoughby. We've got another 3-bedroom that was in 10 Wallace Street, Willoughby. That sold for 1.622 million, you know, it's sort of pretty comparable. 338 square metres, a little bit larger. In Northcote Street, Narembeen, just nearby, 1.95 for another 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1 car. So there's sort of realistic figures to show where we're going in the market, and they were just last year. Yeah, and a three-bedder tends to rent for anywhere up to about sort of $850, sometimes a bit more per week. So, you know, they're not huge returns on such a big outlay, but that's Sydney rents for you at the moment.
Yeah, strong growth.
The preamble looks to have started at that auction there in Willoughby, so let's tune in and see how it's all unfolding.
Journey to home ownership this morning. Underpinning the auction, though, has been our marketing agents, Danny Grant. We've got Di Grant here also. We've got Rick Woodward running around throughout the property. And the team are here to answer any questions that you may have throughout the course of the auction to ensure you are in the perfect position to put your best foot forward and own a truly wonderful opportunity for your consideration. Now, evident by the crowd that stands before me, I understand there's a number of buyers here in a position that are eagerly waiting to make this property your own, and I really commend you on your judgment of buying real estate this morning, because this is a property that is simply neat as a pin, and when you add into the mix a location that is very, very convenient to those lucky purchasers amongst us, this is a property that has all of the key ingredients. However, we do miss but one very, very important key ingredient, and that's finding our new owners that can enjoy living here just as much as our current owners have. So buyers, bid with some supreme confidence here this morning. This is a property you do not want to miss out on. I wish you well with your buying endeavours. Now, before we get to the exciting part of the auction, just a few things that I will run through, namely the documentation. Now, the contract of sale and the terms and conditions have been on display prior to the commencement of the auction. They're taken to be read and understood at this stage of proceedings. I will, however, just remind you of the following. Now, the contract of sale and all its particulars run consistent with the copies made available to you throughout the course of the marketing campaign. Any changes to that document, well, they would have been approved prior to the commencement of the auction. It's a very straightforward document as it stands, though, and should only encourage your participation here at the auction. Now, the terms and conditions of the auction, they are very, very straightforward. Just touching quickly on these pertinent points, namely the fact that the highest approved bidder will be the buyer, subject to the reserve price. The seller may bid here at the auction on one occasion directly through myself as the auctioneer, known simply as a seller or a vendor bid, and if we do choose to use that vendor bid, it will always be placed below the reserve price. Now, you must be registered to place a bid. If you choose to participate and place a bid here at the auction, you simply have to identify yourself each and every single time you nominate the figure you'd like to go up in, just so we can take those details down as we move forward. And buyers, at this particular stage of the auction, just reminding everyone that participation is a prerequisite when looking to buy at auction. So again, I hope to see you shortly when we call for the opening bids. And before we get to the exciting part of the auction, it'd be remiss of me not to talk briefly about the property itself. And for so many of the neighbours that are here, you'll know that this is a location that just sits at the top of access, and access to everything you love about the area. We've got such a good community here in Willoughby, where you've got so many people that choose to live and certainly raise their family here for so many years. Very rare for people to be able to move away from the area. And here in this location, you're only mere footsteps away from all the cafes and restaurants that Willoughby has to offer. But public transport, that's literally on your front doorstep. And not to mention, for the families amongst us, your family and children's education is secure with an array of great schooling facilities only a short distance away. Everyone knows it's a great location, but this particular semi, with the Federation charm, the character, everything you love about this particular property, with again the added mix of some great contemporary design, it really just ticks all of the boxes, buyers. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, car space off street out the front there, plenty of space for living people, plenty of space still to entertain. This is a property, folks, that you put your best foot forward. You do not leave with any regret here this morning. Otherwise, I really do think that you'll regret for many years to come that you didn't buy this wonderful home. So with that in mind, and without further ado, evident by that crowd that stands before me, people eager to make their, will stamp their authority on the negotiations. So with that in mind, and without further ado, let's see if we can start that. Buyers, where do we go for an opening bidder offer to get us underway? Who would like to start the negotiations? Where do we go? I thought that description was pretty good. Sorry, sir? All right, bid number 11 at $1.5 million. A cheap and cheery start, sir, but welcome aboard at $1.5 million this particular stage. And, sir, appreciate the opening bid, though. I really do. At 1.5, sorry, man. 1.6, would you like it? At 1.6, back in front. And, again, look at the capital appreciation in the moment of seconds, sir. At $1,600,000 and against you. And happy to go to 1.7, or you simply sing it out, sir, at this particular stage. At $1,600,000 bids here, and it's in the front. And it's still very, very good buying at this level now. At $1,600,000, and I would have expected a sea of hands across the crowd at this level. It's very, very good buying with recent sales up closer to 2 million buyers. You bid with confidence now, sir. And what's the retort? Can I go maybe to 1.65, sir, and a simple raise of the bidder card to get you in front? But, ma'am, your bid now at 1.6 here. Fairly bid offered at $1,600,000, folks, and happy to go to 6.50 if we may. And, again, a simple raise of the bidder card at 6.50. Got you there, sir, at 16.50. New interest in 317. At 1.7, she's back in front, sir. At 1.7's the money now here in the centre and against you. Make it 17.50, sir, and that will be a strong play in this negotiation. At $1,750,000 back in front now. At 7.50's the call, and 1.8 would be the logical move, ma'am. At $1,750,000 here, and it's on the right and against you, ma'am and sir. Haven't forgotten about you now. At $1,750,000, older the yibbida for a moment, giving you a chance to think things through, ma'am. 1.8. What do you mean, no? It's good buying at this level. It is, with recent sales closer to 2. In your favour still, sir, at $1,750,000. 3 people bidding shows it's a desirable property, and that desirability will long remain into the future when price is well and truly forgotten. But good luck, sir, at $17.50. Not going to delay. Fair warning. First chance. Contract's up. When it's gone, it could be gone for good. At $1,750,000. Bids far right. Bid number 33. Would you make it 25 just to shorten my stride, asking for 50? All right, well, you're a tough negotiator, ma'am. I like your style. I'll take you to board at 60. But, sir, the logical move would be 1.8 now. $1,760,000 back here in the centre, and 1.8 would be the logical move on the chessboard that is the real estate negotiation, sir. At $1.8 back in front now. Thank you very much. At 1.8. At 1.8, and should give you confidence, ma'am, to retort quickly if we can. At 1.8's the bid here on the right now. At $1,800,000. Pop another 10 on top, ma'am. What do we say? At 1.8's the bid. First chance now, quickly. Looks like we're down to 2, and if you're holding back, that is not a good strategy, folks. At $1,800,000, quickly, contracts up. We're at the apex of the negotiation, man. We really are. At 1.8's the call. Second warning now. In your favour, sir. Winning offer. Good luck. All right, it's all money, sir. At 8.05, back in the hunt now. At 8.05's the call. At $1,805,000. At 10, back in front. At 10's the call. At 8.10's the bid now. At 8.10's the money. And 15. At 15, back in 20, sir. What do we say? At 15's the call. At $1,815,000. Bids here in the centre. 20. 20, stronger play. At 20's the bid now. 25, sir. Come with me. At $1,820,000 back here on the right against the centre and the left. 3 people in it. At $1,820,000. Fair warning. First chance. Make it 25, sir. Second warning now. At $1,820,000. Bids on the right, folks.
1,000?
No, sir. 5 minimum. Come with me. It's worth that. It really is. Make it 5. Pop it on top, sir. At $1,820,000. Quickly.
You take it.
All right. 1,000. Your persistence beats my resistance, sir. At $1,821,000. Round me to 25. Square the ledger, sir. At 25, back in front now. 25's the call, and he's making a strong play for the key, sir. You need to change the strategy. At $1,825,000. And, ma'am, haven't forgotten about you. No repercussions for changing it mine at my auction. At $18.25. Bids here on the right. Buys quickly now. 26. At 26 and 30, sir. 30 back in front now. 30's the money. At $1,830,000, sir. 31. 31 back in front at 31, and the courtesy's 35, sir. What do we say? At 35, back in front at 35's the money now. At $18.35, again, looks like we're down to 2. He's got his nose in front, sir. At 35, the bid. Fair warning, first chance. At $18.35.
36.
36. Sir. 40, stronger play for the keys. At 40, the call. I love it, sir. At 40's the bid now. What do we say, sir? And a quick bid's a good bid. At 18.40 back in front now, and still 1,840,000 reasons to get excited. With those recent sales closer to 2, you bid with confidence at these levels. At $1,840,000, 3 big bedrooms, this great Federation semi. It makes sense to bid with confidence, sir. Come with me on the journey. At $1,840,000, quickly, folks, in or out to go. First chance now at $1,840,000, bids here on the right. Second warning at $1,840,000. What do we say? In or out to go at 18.40, quickly. Third and final time at $1,041,000 at 41 at 41, and your timing's impeccable, sir. Well done at 41. 50 maybe would be the key, sir. At 41, 45, okay, can't blame me for trying. At 45, and he's back in front at 18.45. Bid away here at $1,845,000, sir. It's all money. I'll take it aboard at 45.5. At 45.5, the bidding against you, sir. Make it 50 at $1,850,000. Back in front at 18.50. And may I make the suggestion, sir, the 500s may not work. We may need to just mix up the pattern. At $1,850,000, the call at 8.50 on top of the million buyers. What do we say? Quickly at $1,850,000 again. If you're holding your cards close to your chest, now's the time to put them on the table. You may miss out if you don't bid now. Buyers at $1,850,000. Far right. Fair warning. First chance at $1,850,000. We head into the valleys of no tomorrow, sir. These are the ones that are worth fighting over. All jokes aside. $1,850,000 past settlement. 51, okay, new interest in. At 51's the call. At 51's the money. Oh, you almost had it. 55 back in front. 56 or 60s, ma'am. 56, okay. And 60, sir. What can we say? 60 back in front at 18.61 now. At 61's the call, and 61's the money. 65, sir. 65 and 66. At 66 the bid now. At 18.66 now. New interest in here. And isn't this a great way to start Saturday? At 66 the bid. 70, sir. 70 back in front of 71. That's the retort now. At 71. At 71, the bid at 18.71, sir. Maybe make it 18.80. Back in front now, strong play at 18.80, called now here. At 18.80, well, ma'am, I'll give you a chance to think things through. At $1,880,000, not exhausting your opening now. At 18.80 bid here on the right, buyers. What do we say? Quickly, fair warning, first chance. At $1,880,000 here on the right. Second warning, contracts up. At $1,880,000, ma'am. 81, got you there. 81's the call. At 81, she says, take that, sir, but you've got the opportunity now. At 81, 82, okay. At 82, I can't pick the pattern. At 82 and 83. At 83 now. At 83's the money. 85. At 85 now. At 85, here at 6. At 86, the call. And 90, sir. 90. 1900. Okay, we got it there now. At $1,890,000, the call. That's the bid, sir. At $1,890,000 called. Got you there. At 18.90's the bid, man. It's against you. Back here on the right at $1,890,000. Fair warning. First chance at 18.90. Second opportunity. At $1,890,000, folks, again, now's the time to put your best foot forward. At $1,890,000, good luck, and look on quickly. At 91, make it 19, sir. That could be the magical number. 19, strong play for the keys at 19. Ma'am, you said no to me before. I can't believe you now. $1,900,000 as the sun beats upon our brow. This is the one that's worth fighting over. It really is. At 1.9's the bid now here on the right. Quickly now, folks, in or out to go. What do we say? At $1,900,000 bid away. I called through 3 times now. First chance at $1,900,000. Quickly. Second warning at $1,900,000. Again, this is still good buying, ma'am. Sir, I haven't forgotten about you also. Timing your run late, maybe at 19's the call here. Good luck and look on at 19 quickly, ma'am, for the sake of another 1,000. You sure? At $1,900,000, again, reminding everyone, for a semi like this, the Federation charm, everything that you've got going for you. Again, if you're holding back thinking one might come up next week, it may not at this level. It really may not, buyers. Again, at $1,900,000, quickly now, buyers, in or out to go for the third and final time at $1,900,000, buyers, in or out to go. I need to know, have I got your best? Ma'am, are you sure? at $1,900,000. All signs lead to bidding. You sure you're out this particular stage at 1.9? 1.9's the bid here.
Sorry, the owners were right at the end of the street. Here we are, sir.
Well, breaking news. We're playing for keeps buyers. We're selling the property at $1,900,000, sir. No further bids. We welcome new owners. Good luck and look on, buyers. If you don't bid now, the sold sticker will be plastered on the board out the front. And if you don't bid, you would have missed your chance at 1.9. We're on the third and final call, buyers. We sell the property at $1,900,000. I need to know, buyers, have I got your best? Has the market spoken at $1,900,000? Ma'am, permission to sell? Are you sure for $1,000? It's only going to be a cup of coffee a week to save that you don't need to spend for that extra $1,000, ma'am. At $1,900,000, what do we say quickly now? One last opportunity at $1,900,000. Quickly at 1.9, buyers. Sir, you're out. At $1,900,000. Well, in Willoughby, sir, we only move forward. That's how good the suburb is. It's a proven performer at $1,900,000 here, and it's on the right. We sell at $1,900,000. Sorry, Danny, quickly, I need to know. At $1,900,000, quickly, one last chance. They want to throw another $1,000 on top. Sir, no, quickly. We sell. And we're sold. Congratulations. Well bought at $1,900,000. Congratulations. You bought a fantastic property. We don't underestimate the importance of our underbidders. Thank you very much. Danny Grant and his team would love to be able to support you to sell your property from the agency. Have a great day, folks. Thank you. Well done.
Wow, there we go. 1.9, a guide of 1.8 there, and that guide had been revised upwards due to all the interest in this property ahead of today's auction. Certainly great for a 3-bedroom semi where the median is 2.1. Sold! There's our first sold of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a great result.
It is a great result, starting off with 1.5, which he accepted but thought it was a bit cheeky, and we knew it was going to go north of that pretty quickly, which it did. Really strong numbers.
Yeah.
You could see we got a great camera crew working for us around the country on the show. We're lucky. Big shout out to them because they work really hard. But they get these beautiful shots in the backyard, but also into the depth of that kitchen, living, dining area. And they were staying back from the action. But there was a big crowd today, really, and very active bidding as well. Really good result. 1.9 million for our first of 8 auctions today, Sophie.
Yeah, exactly. Plenty more where that came from. We've got the 7 more auctions. You can see there in the wall behind us a bit of congratulatory handshaking going on, and a few people missed out on that one. But
possibly off to their next auction to see how they go for the next house.
Autumn is here and winter's not far behind. And if you're looking to create the ultimate autumn and winter home design, you're in luck. Justine Wilson, Director of Vault Interiors, is here to show us how it's done without breaking the bank. Justine, we love having you in here. And I'm actually a big fan of the cooler months. I love autumn, love winter.
I'm a winter girl at home, 100%.
So how do we embrace that in our living rooms? How do we make it really cosy inside?
I think it's a really important topic because come winter, you're forced to be inside, aren't you? It's cold outside, it's dreary, you can't do your usual activities. So I think
hooray, no pressure to do activities.
Well, then you've got all the winter sports. But I think home's such a hub that you need to embrace and make feel homely, make it a cocoon, make it feel welcoming. So that's why I think winter styling is worth considering to make your beautiful home feel wonderful during those cooler months.
So what do you think as a start-off point? I'm going to look at that beautiful on-cue jacket that you're wearing.
Autumn tones.
Yeah, we get these beautiful colours, mainly with European trees in Australia rather than native because we don't have deciduous otherwise. But those tones are a good way to start, aren't they?
100%. Rich colours signify winter. So in your interiors, it's very inexpensive to bring in some scatter cushions, some nice art, some accessories that have those richer tones. So dirty blush is really popular right now.
Beg your pardon.
Mustards.
Explain.
I'm getting a dirty blush just hearing you say that.
I'm happy to say that because you're speaking a language I understand. Explain dirty blush for people.
Well, it's like a pink, but it's a little bit dusty and muddier. So kind of like the colour of my jacket. It's not a clear colour, it's a little bit murkier, and that tone, it's very autumny. The falling leaves, you see all those rich colours. So if you can bring that into your interiors, then it's going to feel great.
Yeah, they are a much more muted tone. I mean, there you go. Those cushions could almost go with you today.
Exactly.
And they are really just soft muted tones. But I think, you know, it's about having that cosy feel too. I mean, here you've got layering. You sort of feel like you could just cozy up there and grab a book and a glass of wine or watch us.
To me, that's winter. Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to be watching a good movie, good TV. Throws, faux fur, lots of linens. It's all about layering in winter. Like a wonderful rug underfoot. The more textures and elements you bring in, especially when they're earthy and warm, those kind of wool tones, it's going to feel really inviting and cocoon-like, which is what you want for winter.
Now we need to talk about this Danish trend where they create a special place just for that cosy feel. Tell us about it.
Sure. Well, it's, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, the Hague kind of trend.
Yeah, that's why I let you do it.
I know, it's one of those words where probably pronounced it incorrectly.
Hague.
Hague. Well, I probably offended millions of Scandinavians, so I apologise. But
I don't think they're easily offended. I think they're pretty
well, they're actually the happiest people in the world,
exactly,
which is why
they've got these Hague things.
Exactly.
Whatever they are.
It's a way of life. Really, the principle is your home should be to live simply, and it should reflect you, and it should be a lovely environment. And so really that principle in winter is so important because we're all homebound. It's about having simple things around you and enjoying your home space. So if you can harness that energy, then you're going to enjoy being indoors. So it's a really wonderful principle.
I really like the principle as well, Justine, because it's about having quality things that mean something to you. Instead of having lots of cheaper things that you just fill up the house with, have less, but they can be of higher value or
sentimental value,
or maybe something that has been passed down or something that you've picked up on vacation or one, you know, that have some story about it.
Exactly, and that's why it's appropriate to winter because you're forced to be indoors. It's time to reassess the things you have, to declutter, to really put your beautiful things on show. You're going to see them all the time.
And you interact with them more, don't you?
Correct, yeah. So put them on display and enjoy them. That's really the principle.
But if you're going to have pieces that are seasonal, you perhaps don't want to spend a fortune on them, do you? If you're going to winterfy your home, then you perhaps want things that you can... is there a way to do it on a budget?
Absolutely. I think with any season, you can always achieve style on a budget. I think the non-permanent items, as I mentioned, cushions, throws, accessories, are a great way to inject a bit of a seasonal feel. Also things like gorgeous candles. They're not expensive. I'm a big fan of a giant tray with lots of candles. In winter, it's ambient light. It gets rid of any musty smells you might have with the windows closed. So I think that's really an inexpensive, simple trick to bring in winter.
And how important do you think it is, especially as we're starting to get into that time of year for people selling their homes? I mean, we both use styling and colour and finishes to add value to the home, to highlight its features. How do you think that people should be styling their home differently with the view of putting it on, you know,
in winter months?
For sale,
Well, it's interesting in winter. Some buyers or some vendors, I should say, are afraid to list in winter, but it's actually a great time because there's less on the market and you can actually make your property really stand out. People identify with the home, so if you've got ambient lighting and you can introduce mirrors, lots of warm, cosy colours, it feels really homely, so people are likely to attach to a home in winter. And if you've got a beautiful garden with that wintry landscape and the falling trees, you know, play to that, as we mentioned, with the rich accent colours.
I love this too, Justine, because of this fire pit idea of being able to use your outdoor spaces even in cooler months. If you go out there and you can rug up a bit or put a throw around your shoulder and have a glass of wine and sit outside, you can still be using those areas, which is another asset.
Sure, it's just creating that usable lifestyle, and winter can mean outdoor entertaining. It's just being clever, use the space, example like the fire pits are wonderful, use your outdoor cushions and throws, you can still have those richer tones, and it's going to invite you to use those spaces.
What are some other sort of left of centre ideas, things that, you know, maybe less obvious, but a way to make your house feel quite cosy?
Well, look, for winter, I think it's all about, as I mentioned, rearranging. So changing out your decor is a way to signify the change of seasons, whether it's rotating family photos or bringing in beautiful greenery is a great one. I love just foliage because there's not much on the leaves outside. It's nice to have the evergreen foliage inside. It brings that outdoors in. A really interesting trend at the moment is this American farmhouse, which is very interesting. It's your overscale vintage signs, industrial furniture. So that's a little bit of a different trend. Shows like Fixer Upper have become really popular. So you can get those reclaimed pieces, bring them into your home, and it's that real American wintry farmhouse vibe. So that's a unique one too.
It's so funny you mentioned that. My mum is fixated with these barnyard builders and these guys with beards and hick guys up in the hills, and they pull apart barns and my mum watches squashes it and fixated with it. You also did mention candles, but lighting is really important for mood lighting. So I presume you're talking lamps and things like this, which is really important for those beautiful hero shots in your real estate advertising.
Especially, yes, when you're selling for sale, you really want to always have as much ambient light as possible, especially in the cooler months where natural light isn't as prominent.
Yep.
So as I mentioned, like bring in lots of mirrors that will bounce any available light. You might want linen thick curtains in your bedroom, but then in lounge rooms have sheer curtains to introduce as much light as possible. Having your floor lamps and all your table lamps on, it creates this ambient glow that, again, it's just wintry, inviting and really warm. So that's a great way to do it.
That's what we like. Inviting and warm. That's what this show is all about, isn't it, Sophie?
True.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Justine. As always, Justine Wilson of Vault Interiors. You can jump online and check out some of their beautiful images and see the magic that she does to transform properties. Thanks so much for joining us, as always.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks, Justine. We're just about to head over to Castle Hill in Sydney's Hills District for our next live auction. A great family home with a beautiful pool area. The auction is just seconds from getting underway. You're quite familiar with this part of the world,
I'm very familiar with this area. I grew up in Carlingford, not far down the hill. Castle Hill was originally opened up as an area. There was a little bit of logging in there originally, lots of trees and also lots of fruit farms and apple orchards. It opened right up and became a housing area into the 80s, and these homes are built there on large blocks. They've got the massive Castle Hill Tower shopping centre, which is a really high-end shopping experience and quite large as it's sort of grown and taken over. And there's still a nice shopping strip there as well with restaurants and cafes. A really important thing for everyone up that way is the new train link running in through from Chatswood that's running through. They've put a tunnel underneath. It's very close to opening now. There's been major work going on, and that will have the train line running through. So that's going to be amazing for people to not have to sit on the M2 there on traffic or Pennant Hills Road to get into Sydney for work. They'll be able to catch the train there. So it's going to really transform this space. And this home is a beautiful, very leafy part of Sydney, as you rightly said, in the hills area, and really well located to some working zones as well, the Castle Hill precinct as well.
Yeah, so the house has 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 cars, a great swimming pool and a bowl of fantails, which I noticed in the marketing material there.
I love myself a fantail. That's where I get a lot of my valuable trivia knowledge from those fantails.
I wondered why you were so interesting.
We enjoyed talking to Carl Anthony, the agent, a little bit earlier. He was very succinct in how he had events. They had a champagne event during the night, one night during the week to get some people in. They've had 150 inspections on this one. They didn't want to give us a price point, but they said the owner is motivated to sell. I think we're going to have a great result for this beautiful family home on this large 900 square metre block of land. Yeah,
they didn't want to give us a price point, but the computer did, and the computer says about $1.5 million for this. But as we know, anything can happen under auction conditions, and we're about to watch anything happen.
Excellent.
Disclosure documents are annexed there within. I take the remainder of this document to be read, but more importantly understood by yourselves and your legal representatives. Let's have a look at the home itself. A single level stunner, a beautiful, very creative floor plan. Of course, lovely open floor plan. You've got the 4 bedrooms, the 2 bathrooms, the dual car accommodation behind me here, that lovely pool and spa at the back, the home theatre system as mentioned. Everything is modernised to perfection, so you can enjoy a beautiful upside, a beautiful home life here today. Once again, proudly representing Ray White Castle Hill, always purveyors of popular properties, hence being #1 in the region for good reasons. They work very hard and they bring stunning homes like this to market and bring crowds like this as well. So it's exciting to get things started. I can't contain myself. I want to hear some bids. Where do we start? Where do we go? Who wants to kick me away here today? Who wants to start me off with an opening bid or offer?
1.25.
125 behind you. I'll say no to the 900 and probably prefer the 125. 1.25 here on the right-hand side now. $1.25 million. Having to move in 50s from here, or maybe flex the muscle and say 100 at 1.25 here. The gentleman looking very, very suave in the white shirt and the jeans there at 125. The call here could be his. I don't believe it. Lots of interest. Lots of people playing it cool. I love seeing the strategies at auction. Let's wait to the last minute. Let's see what happens. This is what's happening. There's no more time. This is your moment. If you don't act now, you miss out forever, ladies and gents. At 125 the call. Happy to bump forward in 50 from there, sir. Be great buying at 1.25. Great buying indeed at $1.25 million. Got a phone bidder here. I've seen the paperwork on that one. Happy to take a 50 from you there, sir. Any other bidders here as well at 1.250? I'll call it through if there are no better bids at $1.25 million. If there are no better bids, calling once at 1.25, twice at $1.25 million. Third, 1.3 it is. Welcome to bidding, sir. Hope you're enjoying that complimentary coffee there, and thanks for the bid too. $50,000 bid for a $50,000 coffee there at 1-3 the call here. Number 10 in the number one position now. 1-3 the call. Looks like a two-horse race here. A 1-3 on the right-hand side now. Back to you, sir, if you like, and call it 1-3-50. 1-3-50. Welcome. Lovely young couple here jumping in to the bidder's circle, of course. 1-3, 1-4 it is. 25. Can't do us 50. 50. 1-4. Stay strong. You don't want to publicly weaken this level. We're just getting started. 30 seconds of fun. Number 110 in the number one position here at 1-4 the call now. $1.4 million worth it every day of the week. There is no justification for hesitation at these levels, ladies and gents. At 1-4 the call here on the left-hand side. Who wants it? Who needs it? 1-4-50 is it? 2-5 to you, sir. 50 it is. Straight on your heels there. He wants it. He loves it, as he should. That beautiful pool. So much upside as well. The outdoor speakers. Year-round partying and celebrations, maybe some classical music, depending on the demographic that purchases here today. Of course, lots of people in different parts and, well, different points of their life bidding on this property here. 1-4-50 now here on the right-hand side at 1-4-50 the call. 1-4-75. Someone going to the 20s. I'm just trying to protect you, sir. You don't want to weaken and let your competition knowing that you're tightening things up here. Stick to 25. Stay confident, sir. 1-7-50. What's that? 147. You're a tough negotiator, sir. At $1.47 million now. 1.49. Sticking the 20s. A nice even game of table tennis. No one misses out here. Everyone gets equal opportunity here before I call it through. At $1.49 million. Who's going to take me to $1.5? $1.5 million. We've got to go there. 1.5 it is. Welcome to the bidding, sir. At 1.5 the call now here. Same courtesy back to you, sir, and call it 1.520 if you like. 15.20 against all else if you want it. Otherwise, lose it. Say goodbye today, ladies and gents. Of course, if you are thinking about listing your home, have a chat to any of the agents here from Ray White, Castle Hill. They are the number one agency in the area for good reason. They work hard, they bring crowds, and they bring beautiful homes like this to market. $1.5 million, a nice round number. He may have scared off his... 15.20 it is. 1.520 the call here on the right-hand side. Same courtesy back to all our bidders here. Otherwise, I'll call it through at 15.20 now. Hate to see you miss out. At $1,520,000. Looks like he's got it. At 1.520, once 1.550. 1.550.
1.525. Would you take 1.5?
I won't take a 5 here, sir. Give us a 20 on top. We've been sticking to the 20s. I'm going to lose some friends here if I take a 5 from you and I've said no to that from them. So
1.540.
1.540. You make 1.550. Give us 1.550. It looks fun on a contract. All the 5s, bit of fun. Staying alive with a couple of 5s. 1.550. Here we go. 1.550 here. They're back in the race. Hate to see you miss out here at 1.550. 1.550 the call here on the right-hand side. Bump it forward to 1.6. Scare them off with a bit of intimidation. Flex the muscle, sir. You've got 2 sets of guns there. Let's see them pump out a bid. Let's have a look at it. Flex us a bid, sir. Give us at least a 25. You've barely got the blood pumping into those guns with those couple of bids. Give them a little flex. Give us a little look at it. Let's look at a 15.75. So, shall we say?
7.5?
7.5 it is.
Yep.
1.75?
Yep.
15.75. I'm an optimist, ladies and gents, at 15.75 here on the right-hand side now. Who wants to bump me forward to 1.6 at 1.575 the call here on the right-hand side? Captain Guns, come on, mate. I know you're still in it for a bit of fun. Chuck a 20 on top and call it 25 and make it 1.6. Surely it's with you, sir. It's against you at the moment. Everyone has been relegated to second best. Not a great place to start a beautiful day like this, but what a home to call yours for the many years to come. And I'm sure you'll all look back to the 6th day of April in 2019 and smile about what happened there today. At 1.550 with you there, sir. At 15.50 the call. 15.70, sorry. 15.70. 75? 75. 75. My apologies. At 15.75 the call. Giving you a discount there, a free discount. We're going forward, not backwards here, ladies and gents. Looks like it's yours, sir. We ran out of interest. First call, second call, third and final call. At 1.575, we sell away here today or finish. Carl, what's happening here? And you're talking about the sport?
5,000.
Can you give us a 10 on top? Happy to work with you. Call it 15.80 if you like. 15.80 on the paddle there. 1.580. Gonna need to see a paddle there. That's a $5,000 bid. You're out. You wanted the 5, now you don't want the 5. Bit confused? You're going to miss out. Going to call this one through. Congratulations. Looks like the property is yours. A beautiful family starting a beautiful life in a beautiful part of the world. 2 stunning schools in the catchment as well. Castle Primary and High as well. They're going to have a lovely life here. 1.575 the call. First call. Second call. We are selling, ladies and gentlemen. We are selling here today. Just checking you're done there, sir. You're definitely finished. The guns are tied. I don't believe it, and you're finished here, sir. All done. Thank you. You're dressed like you're about to sign a contract. And so I'm thinking you came here to sign a contract today, so surely I can tempt you back in for $5,000 on top, not even a 1.
Not an overpriced contract.
No, right, we're done there. Looks like we are selling here and just checking if 1.575. Carl's having a bit of a chat here, of course, working tirelessly throughout the campaign, all the way up today, not stopping either at this point, getting the absolute best he can for our vendors here today. Thanks for your patience, apologies. We're about to sell over here. 1,575. $1,575,000 we're about to sell here today. 1,585 with you. I'm going to sell it, Carl. I'm going to sell it through. I don't think they're interested. I think they're done. Thanks so much for your patience, ladies and gents. I do appreciate it. We're giving everyone an equal chance. I don't want to rush anyone. It's a big decision buying property, but at the same time, this family's keen to process a contract. Let's do it. Let's sell it. What do they want? 5? See the 5 on the pedal there? 1,580. You wanted the 5. You got the 5. You're about to miss out. Thanks again for your patience if you are viewing online. 1,580 it is. A very cunning strategy, sneaking in at the last minute with $5,000, a laborious bid. 8.5 straight back here, and he's saying, no thanks, this home's mine. I can see my kids swimming in the pool here. Christmas is out on this massive block. Those beautiful citrus trees, those dwarf lemons at the back. You've just dwarfed your competition, sir, and done very well indeed, scaring them off, taking ownership of this home. It looks like it's yours at 1,585 the call, if there are no better bids. 1,585 it is. Great buying. What an exciting time to transact property. It really is. The most exciting times we've seen for some time indeed, for both sides, of course. We are on the market, ladies and gents. Appreciate your patience, sir. You finished that coffee and you were ready to sign a contract. I can see it in your eyes. Everyone else, I think, is finished. Sometimes people wait for the last minute to jump in. A few sneaky bidders popping over the fence. Any regos, a couple of people on the fence. I do like to check and make sure there's no one just waiting to jump in with a buzzer-beating bid at the end there. But looks like we're finished here, ladies and gents. Looks like we are selling here today. Carl's had a serious conversation over here. It's hopefully about the property. I'm not sure. It could be about life indeed. He could have broached a few of the big philosophies of life with the length of this conversation here today, but I think we are selling here at 1,585 the call. Thanks again for all your attendance. If you are in the market, make sure you jump onto the Ray White Castle Hill website. Some stunning propositions there at the moment. Of course, they always purvey some beautiful properties here throughout the Hills District, being the #1 agency in the region for good reason. Of course, Ray White having over a century of auction experience through all the markets Australia's ever seen up until now as far as real estate goes. So it's great to be a part of Ray White Castle Hills team, and great to sell this property to this family here now. We're going to call this one through, Carl. We've given it enough time at 1,585. Calling once for waive a better bid or offer. Twice at 1,585. $1,585,000. Third and final call. All finished. All silent. Carl, we're done. Just checking with the jackal here, with the bulldog we call Carl Anthony, just checking he's happy. He's having a chat to a few last people here, a few neighbours, hoping to double down on their investments here in Castle Hill. Happy to go. I think we're good to go, Carl. We are selling here today, ladies and gents. We are definitely selling. It's a hot autumn day here. A bit of fun and a big opportunity. The guns are tired. I've tried to tempt him back in. The guns have had enough. He's had so many bicep curls this morning and can't get the paddle up. All right, sir, it looks like it's yours. So in the final rounds here, checking everyone is done. We are selling here. What a beautiful home. I'm getting so warm here, I might jump in the pool with you guys right now to celebrate this. Have a quick espresso shot. The complimentary coffees, of course, courtesy of Ray White Castle Hill here today. Great to see this transaction. Proceed to the execution of a contract right now. If there are no better bids at 1,585 the call. Going to call this one through. Hopefully not a social conversation happening in the back here with Carl. Calling this one through at 1,585. If there are no better bids, let's keep the kids off the road. Keep it nice and safe. But a beautiful 22-metre frontage here. Look at the size of this frontage. Worth it every day of the week at 1,585. All right, we're selling this one here today, ladies and gents. Calling it through if there are no better bids at $1,585,000. 1,585 the call once. At 1,585 the call twice. At $1,800,000. At $1,585,000. 1,585. Third and final call. All finished. All silent. Sold to you. Congratulations.
Well done, mate.
Well done. Thanks for your genuine bidding and being an absolute pleasure to work with. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the home. You've done really well.
Oh, I think our auctioneer there could have gone all day on that one. I think he was having a high old time, and a very happily family there that have snagged
Beautiful
that
young
property.
family and their little young child in arms, now woken up, nearly falling asleep. They're waiting for it to happen over the line. They were very patient, weren't they? They had to obviously check every party concerned was going to get a little bit of extra money out. The couple behind that Carl Anthony, the agent, was speaking to, did put a $5,000 bid, which was quickly added onto by that couple there in the middle of the screen. Ended up selling from original first bid of 1.25 to a sales price $1,585,000 for this house in Castle Hill. Great result, I think.
Yeah, a really good result considering the market there has been a little bit dicey. It's pulled back a bit further than other parts of Sydney in the past 12 months, sort of a bit higher than the average price decline. But they've had some sort of good steady rises, and there's, as you were saying earlier, a lot to like about Castle Hill moving forward. You know, if it's possible, it's kind of getting closer to the rest of Sydney.
Yeah, just transport options that have opened up in the hills area, which they haven't had. They've really only relied on buses. So to have the train line going through is a major infrastructure benefit for the suburb.
And it is a work and lifestyle hub in and of itself too. It's sort of the centre of the Hills district there in Sydney's northwest. Thanks so much for being with us here on Auction Day.